Elliott, how we doing today?
Football guys always know, Joe. The football guys always know.
Football
they
guys
always know.
They know. Well, do you know?
They know.
Do you know who the Eagles' offensive coordinator is going to be?
I don't know if they know that, but at least it seems like we had a favorite right now, for sure. There's someone that seems to be the leader in the clubhouse.
I'm imagining you're talking about Sean Mannion. Elliott, if you are, tell us your thought on Sean Mannion, who's, 2 days ago, if I said his name, people would say, who's that? And now he may be the favorite here. What's your feeling on Mannion as his name has jumped up here to the top?
Well, I think a lot of the Eagles players would also say, who's that, when they hear the name of their new offensive coordinator, if it is indeed Sean Mannion. But look, I think there's a bunch of ways to look at this, and you kind of have to remove emotion from it in a way, because I completely understand the frustration that will happen if Sean Mannion is the choice. Nobody wanted him at the beginning of the search. He's not Brian Dable. He's not Mike McDaniel. So I get the frustration of it. That does not mean he's a bad coach, right? And it doesn't mean he's not a sharp football mind. And I do think the Eagles, to a certain degree, have done a good job like uncovering coaches nobody else wants. Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid all the way back in the day. That being said, he might be a great coach, but for this job, I don't think he is the man for the job. He's young. He's only coached for 2 years. He's going to have to sit in front of a room with guys that have made hundreds of millions of dollars, guys that have made Pro Bowls, guys that have Super Bowl rings, and convince them that he is the one that knows what they should be doing on offense. So I can respect who Sean Mannion is as a coach, but I think for this job, he wouldn't be the best fit.
Elliott, as we go through this thing, Dable off the board to Tennessee, Mike McDaniel off the board to the Chargers. Do you think we're heading more towards the idea of them giving this to a first-time coordinator, even if that might not make logical sense to a lot of people? Versus, there seems to be two camps emerging, right? It's the first-time young coordinator, potential Sean Mannion, even Declan Doyle's never called plays, versus the retread veteran that at least has done it before, Jim Bob Cooter, Matt Nagy. Like, do you think it's kind of one or the other, that those kind of two diverging paths of candidates?
Yeah, so I think going into this, they wanted experience, right? Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable, all the names we heard initially had experience. But I think if you think about who the Eagles are in a holistic sense, right? They are a team that is not really into retreads. They're someone that likes to hire young, unproven candidates and hope that they, can meet their potential with the Eagles. Again, we saw them do it with Andy, with Doug, with Nick, even a lot of the coordinator hires that they've made, like Brian Johnson. I know it didn't work out, but he was viewed as an up-and-coming candidate when they hired him. So I think that's how they trend, and I think you're kind of seeing them go back to who they truly are. I just find it hard to believe they're not going to value experience in this search, when basically the whole reason Patullo was fired was because, he was inexperienced, right? The play calling and all that. So, outside of just being a scapegoat. But I do think that when it comes to who they will lean towards hiring, I just find it hard to believe experience won't matter to them. But with Sean Mannion with his second interview, maybe they're going to lean on who they kind of are as a franchise.
Elliott, I heard Ike say something a couple days ago. We spoke about it. I'm going to ask you a question kind of in a backward sense. If the Eagles could go back in time 2 days after the season, do you think, based on what they know now, they would still fire or demote, or whatever word you want to use, Kevin Patullo?
Yes, because I don't think they fired Patullo because of the job he did. I don't think they fired him because they don't believe in him. I think they fired him because someone had to go, right? We've seen that's how the Eagles operate. And after 2023, Brian Johnson was fired, even though the main reason the offense struggled was Jalen threw 15 interceptions that season. The offense didn't struggle this year because of Kevin Patullo. They know that. They're aware. They're in the meetings all week. They know what the problems are. The reason Patullo was fired is because it just wouldn't be tenable to bring him back in this market, with this fan base, with this media group. It would have been too big of a distraction for the team going into next year. So, yeah, I think they would still fire him, just because I think that frustration would have still been there if they kept him.
Elliott, I was listening yesterday when you were on Tuesdays with Elliott, the afternoon show, and I think Spike asked you the question of something to the effect of, do you think Nick Sirianni will be the Eagles head coach in 2027? And if I think you said something like you're 60 or 65% sure he would.
Yeah.
Right. So that, obviously you were leaving that 30 or so percent, 35% that he wouldn't. Do you think that is factoring in to their inability to maybe land some of the guys they want? That, you come here and maybe the whole staff is cleaned out in a year if things don't work versus, let's just use Tennessee, right? Robert Sala's going to get a few years, you would think. And Obviously, Jim Harbaugh's not going anywhere anytime soon in Los Angeles. Do you think the way Sirianni's viewed and his job status long-term is impacting this?
Yeah, I do. I think, that's tied into the fact that they've moved on from coordinators twice that were first-year coordinators after just 1 year. I think that's a major part of it. But I think anyone that takes this job has to either be a major risk taker or desperate. And the top candidates don't have to be either of those things. Like, I would argue Sean Mannion doesn't really have to be desperate, right? He's early in his coaching career. He's already getting an offensive coordinator hire. But he's so green that I would understand why he would take it. Like the pay bump, the chance to elevate so quickly, like I would get that. But if you're, some of these other candidates that have been a hot name for a few years, you're taking a major risk coming here, and guys with power don't normally have to take big risks. That doesn't mean it can't work out for them. But to your point, like there's a chance that in a year, we're talking about the Eagles with a new head coach and a new quarterback. And I think if you're a coordinator, that's it's a risk to take.
Elliott, how much longer do you think until this matters that they don't have a coordinator? I'm just thinking of the NFL calendar, right? So they're going to Senior Bowl's going on now. The Combine, I would think, is about 3 or 4 weeks away. Then all of a sudden it's free agency. I mean, how important is timing going to soon become? I don't think it's a big deal today, but obviously at some point it's a big deal when they're trying to create a next year's roster and they don't have a coordinator to lean on. Like, how close are we to, hey, they got to pick somebody?
I don't think it's that important from the calendar perspective. Like, they can go to the Combine without an offensive coordinator. Like, it wouldn't be ideal, and I think you want to have one by then. But I don't think it would, impact the 2026 season. I think the hurry to get a coordinator is jobs fill up and guys go, right? So if you want, let's say, now I don't know if anyone else is interested in Sean Mannion, but let's say, I guess Jim Bob Cooter and Matt Nagy, which actually I'm thinking now, it seems like a lot of their final choices no one else has been linked to. But regardless, if you're one of those candidates, you could go take another job if the Eagles are going to make you wait. So I don't think it actually matters in the perspective of getting him in the building. I think it just matters because that guy might bring in some of his own staff. And if that's the case, then you want him a chance. You want to give him a chance to bring those guys in. So I think it just more matters from a hiring perspective, not like a football perspective.
All right, Elliott, I want to read to you a tweet you had the other day that I just want to get your flush out your thoughts on. Now, I will say before I read it, and I kind of alluded to this when you hopped on, it's looking like more of a W for you today than it looked at in the moment because... Like
all my tweets,
well,
too, by
I'm
the
not
way.
sure about that.
Yeah,
but
when I said it wasn't an attractive job, everyone dunked on me on Twitter.
I was with you on that.
And now look at this.
Well, you and I were aligned
look
on
at
that
you now,
one.
Elliott.
Yeah, that's right.
Winning.
Exactly.
Now, this one, the backdrop, of course, is yesterday we found out Bill Belichick will not be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. You threw this out there on Sunday. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl the next year after leaving. Patriots back in the Super Bowl 1 year after firing Belichick. Belichick currently doing an embarrassingly bad job in college at a joke program. He just isn't an all-time great head coach. Elliott, what are we doing?
Yeah, the results speak for themselves. When he's been anywhere else but New England, it's been a disaster. It was a disaster as a head coach. It was a disaster in Cleveland when he was there, right? He's not succeeded anywhere but New England, and he's not succeeded when he hasn't had Tom Brady. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl the year after he left the Patriots. He clearly is an all-time great quarterback. The Patriots took 1 year between firing Belichick and finding their next head coach to get them to the Super Bowl. They're obviously an all-time great franchise. Belichick his success was a result of where he was and who his players were. That has been proven clear. Now, his resume, obviously, is a Hall of Fame resume, and he is a top 10 head coach. But guys like Andy Reid that have gone multiple places and won with multiple players and built their success, that's a truly great head coach. Belichick's a great defensive mind. I don't think he is, among the top 5 head coaches of all time.
But he set forth the Patriots. You think they'd be where they are now if he never arrived?
I think Tom Brady is the reason they are where they are. It's always the quarterback. And Tom Brady got there, right? And that's when things turned around.
But he put him on the field and kept him on the field as a 6th-round pick.
Yes, and he deserves credit for putting Brady out there. That does not mean that he developed Brady. That does not mean that he is more. Hold on. Again, if he had only ever been in that situation, then it'd be a different discussion. But the reality is he's failed other places, and the other main parts of the team have had success without him. So, like, you know, people bring up Nick Sirianni, right? Nick's only had success with the Eagles, and people can debate, you know, is that a result of the players, whatever. At least Nick hasn't failed other places. Belichick has failed everywhere else he's been, including a low-level college program now. And the fact no teams want to hire him, the fact he's not getting into the Hall of Fame, tells you what people think about him.
I mean, I think the Hall of Fame thing is about Robert Kraft, and it's about Bill Polian, and it's about just like making him wait a year.
It's about that he cheated, and I didn't even bring that up when talking about his resume overall, right? Like. Yeah. He cheated. He is responsible. He's responsible for maybe the biggest cheating scandal in the history of the NFL. We, for some reason, don't hold that against him until now. But with baseball players, we do it all the time, right? Like all those guys don't get in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Belichick had a cheating scandal just as big, and now everyone's crying because he didn't get in. Like, yes, he's a great
should Tom Brady get in the Hall of Fame
next year?
Should Tom Brady get in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think he should. Should he get in on the first ballot? That's a discussion.
Okay.
I guess we'd have to have then. But I'm saying with Belichick, I think it's fair that he got penalized for the cheating scandal.
That's fine, but I just think it's performative because they're going to put him in a year. Like, I'd actually respect the voters more if they just, like Barry Bonds or Clemens, like you're alluding to, just don't vote for them if you're anti-cheating. He's going to go. I think we're forgetting the beginning of the Patriots thing. It wasn't about Tom Brady. It wasn't. It was about Bill Belichick. They were a garbage franchise, and he resurrected them to become the greatest franchise of 2 decades. Like, how do we just ignore that?
Tom Brady resurrected him.
Tom Brady completed 14 passes in some of those playoff games. It was the defense.
I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Fame coach. What I'm saying is he's discussed as the best head coach of all time.
Because he is.
He's not that. Andy Reid is a better head coach than Bill Belichick.
Can I make the point that Andy Reid without Patrick Mahomes is just what? He's a maybe. We could get close but not win the whole thing.
And that would matter if he hadn't had a ton of success somewhere else, right? So I've seen Andy go to multiple places and build up the success there. You're right. Belichick won in New England, but the fact he's failed everywhere else, I think is very noteworthy.
Everywhere else,
about his career.
It's the Browns. It was the Cleveland Browns and one year in college football.
But why is he coaching? Why is he coaching in North Carolina?
Well, honestly, I think because Robert Kraft had him blackballed from the NFL. I mean,
why? Why is
he
that?
was up for the Atlanta job though? Didn't he do for the Atlanta job?
And they picked Raheem Morris. Yeah, they picked Raheem Morris. What else is he if he's not an all-time coach? I don't understand.
I said he's probably top 10. I'm not saying he's a bum, but I'm saying the days of him being discussed as the best head coach of all time should be over. Done. Andy Reid is ahead of Bill Belichick, I think, without question.
So then he's 2.
No, I think he's like 5, 6, 7. I can come up with the list for you if you want. Again, he's failed everywhere else.
I'd like to hear
look at the results.
Failed in Cleveland, and then failed where? With North Carolina in 1 year.
Yeah, and no one wants to hire him. Let me ask you a question.
He's like 80 years old with a weird girlfriend. Okay. I wouldn't want to hire him either right now.
Don't old people shame. Hugh's right next to you.
Well, hold on. If Andy Reid was unemployed today,
I ain't got no young ass girlfriend though.
Yeah. Andy Reid could get any NFL job he wanted today, besides maybe like the Rams job, right? Elliott,
I think there's a path to Andy to surpass Belichick. I don't think that's crazy.
He already has.
Well, I don't think yet, but I think he got blown out in 2 Super Bowls. That hurts Andy. I mean, let's be real, blown out. How many times has Bill Belichick been blown out in a big game like that? Never.
Okay, but regardless, he's won 2 different places. He's won multiple Super Bowls. Like, he's developed quarterbacks. I mean, Belichick, again, he was the head coach, but he didn't develop Brady in the way that Andy developed Mahomes and McNabb.
Yes, he did.
I think he did.
Tom Brady walked in the NFL good? Who else developed him?
Belichick's a defensive coach. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't have anything to do with it, but Andy is a quarterback guru. Andy went out and got Mahomes, traded up for him, right? Like, the Patriots somewhat lucked into Brady, if we're being honest. Andy had, conviction, went up, got his guy, and he developed him. Like, that's a great head coach.
He won 6 Super Bowls with a 6th-round pick quarterback. That's the greatest coach of all time.
He's a top 10 head coach. I'm not saying he's not a great coach. What I'm saying is he obviously is not as good as everyone talks about him, and the results just bared out by the fact that he is so disliked around the league that he couldn't get in on the first ballot. Like, that matters too.
Disliked and great are not the same thing.
I don't know. I think there's something to it. Like, I think how you treat people along the way matters.
Well, I agree with that. There is something to that, but doesn't mean your resume. All right.
I bet you Andy Reid will get in on the first ballot.
Sure, he will. But Belichick should have too. That's not the.
Clearly not.
Because Robert Kraft has an axe to grind. That's what happened yesterday, and Bill Polian carried water for him.
But of all the people that would not have an axe to grind against Belichick, wouldn't it be Robert Kraft?
No.
So ask yourself, why is that happening?
Because he wants all the credit. Because he thinks he's the reason the Patriots win. Which that's not true.
He is.
Robert Kraft was in La La Land before Belichick took over.
And where's Robert Kraft now? And where's Belichick now?
And who's
Kraft
the head?
Is preparing for
wait,
another Super Bowl. Belichick is coaching at North Carolina.
And who are the two coaches Robert Kraft has picked since Belichick? His former players. Bill Belichick's players coach his football team. And his offensive coordinator is Bill Belichick's coordinator. If he doesn't think Belichick's the reason for his success, he's lost.
Yeah.
He obviously Belichick is part of the reason Robert Kraft was successful, clearly. But who has had more success without the other? That's not even debatable.
Well, as of this moment, Robert Kraft has 0 rings without Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick has rings.
You're Mr. New Information. New information. Patriots are playing in a week. Belichick is basically unemployed to an extent. It's clear who's won this power battle, and it's Kraft.
Well, all right. I mean, but that doesn't mean Belichick's not a great head coach or an all-time great head coach.
I agree with you. He's a top 10 head coach. I agree with you. He's
easily
not the number one guy.
Oh my God, top 10. Well, all right, I know you.
What's wrong with being top 10?
It's ridiculous. He has 6 Super Bowl rings.
There's nothing wrong with it, Elliott.
Nothing at all.
Thank you, Kyle.
I think
you know what.
All right, hold on. Give me 5 better. Just 5.
No, I'll have to come up with my list another time. I'm not going to give you names. But I'm telling you,
tweet
Andy
it,
Reid
by the way?
is definitely one of them.
Can you please tweet it?
That's fine, the Andy Reid thing. I'll give you Reid. I'll even give you Walsh if you want. I'll help you with the list.
Yeah,
but
Bill Walsh.
It stops there. I mean, what are you doing?
Nick Sirianni.
I just know that Belichick, when he hasn't been with the Patriots, has had 0 success, and the Patriots, without Bill Belichick, are now back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the Eagles have
success. Is Sirianni in the top 10?
Franchises are always going to outlast individuals. Franchises always around.
Sirianni has not failed another place.
Where's Lombardi?
That's a good point.
Yeah, Lombardi's ahead of Belichick, too.
You know what Coach Belichick's downfall was?
What's that?
Good Gouda.
There it is.
That Gouda undefeated, dog. I'm trying to tell you.
You've been telling us that for a long time.
You know,
that's a good spot,
I'm just saying. You know something up when you taking mermaid pictures and doing all kinds of stuff at 80-something years old.
Sneaky reason to be left out of the Hall of Fame, by the way, is the mermaid picture.
No, I'm telling you, dog.
That I get.
It's like RG3 with the croissant.
Yeah, it's like certain things you just, you know what I mean, man? You just,
yeah, I mean, dude,
at a certain age, you've missed the boat.
The internet can be damaging, man.
Yeah, that's true. Elliott, we appreciate you hopping on. Should the Sixers trade for Giannis?
Absolutely not. I will feel just as happy getting out of the second round with Embiid as I would winning a title with Giannis. I have no interest in renting a title with Giannis. I've been on this journey with Embiid. Getting him and Maxey out of the second round would feel better than bringing in Giannis for 2 months and winning a title.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that logic, but I am with you on Giannis. I don't want to trade I don't want to trade VJ and the Clippers pick for him. I don't want to.
Agreed. Ride out with this team.
Yeah. All right, Elliot, we appreciate hopping on, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Maybe if they get a coordinator here in the next couple of days. Thank you.